Have you ever wondered how a group of colonies managed to defeat one of the world's greatest empires? Imagine a time when 13 fledgling colonies took on the might of the British Empire and emerged victorious. That's the American Revolution, a pivotal moment in history that reshaped the world. This video is a journey into the heart of that revolution, exploring the events, the characters, and the ideas that birthed a nation. Let's dive into the events that led to the birth of a new nation, the United States of America. The year is 1765, and the British Parliament has just passed the Stamp Act. Picture a time where the air was thick with unrest, where the colonies across the Atlantic were bristling against the heavy hand of the British Crown. The Stamp Act, a direct tax imposed by Britain, required American colonists to pay for an official stamp or seal when they bought paper items. This was Britain's way of recouping some of the costs from the French and Indian War. The colonists, however, saw this as a blatant disregard for their rights. "No taxation without representation," they cried. They believed that as British citizens, they should have a say in the laws that governed them. The Stamp Act was met with outrage and protests sprang up across the colonies. It was this discontent that led to the formation of a group that would become instrumental in the American Revolution, the Sons of Liberty. Formed by patriots such as Samuel Adams and John Hancock, the Sons of Liberty organized protests, circulated petitions, and even orchestrated acts of defiance against the British Crown. They were the embodiment of the growing resentment against the British rule. But the Stamp Act was just the beginning. Over the next 10 years, Britain would pass a series of acts that would further stoke the fires of rebellion. The Townshend Acts of 1767, for instance, imposed duties on a variety of goods and led to widespread boycotts. The Tea Act of 1773, which led to the infamous Boston Tea Party, was the final straw, pushing the colonies to the brink of revolution. These acts, seen as oppressive and unjust by the colonists, fueled the growing discontent and anger towards Britain. They were the sparks that ignited the flame of rebellion, a flame that would soon engulf the entire continent. The colonies were on the brink, the tension palpable. They were united in their anger, their desire for freedom, and their willingness to fight for it. The stage was set for a revolution that would change the world forever. The American Revolution was not just a war for independence, it was a fight for the very ideals of liberty, justice, and democracy. And it all started with a spark of rebellion. Fast forward to April 19, 1775, the first shots of the American Revolution are fired at Lexington and Concord. A crisp spring morning in Massachusetts transformed into a day of profound historical significance. British troops, on a mission to seize colonial weapons, were met with unexpected resistance from local militia, known as Minutemen. In the ensuing skirmish, 8 Minutemen fell, marking the first casualties of the American Revolution. These battles of Lexington and Concord were not large-scale strategic operations, but they ignited a spark that soon spread like wildfire. News of the conflict raced along the post roads, reaching Philadelphia in a mere 8 days. The American colonies, once disparate and divided, found themselves united by a common cause. In response to the escalating conflict, the Second Continental Congress convened in May 1775. This was not a group of seasoned soldiers, but a gathering of farmers, lawyers, and merchants, shouldering the weight of a looming war. They made a pivotal decision: the formation of the Continental Army, a unified military force representing all 13 colonies. The Congress then faced an equally crucial task: appointing a commander for this newly formed army. The man they chose was a seasoned veteran, a dignified Virginian with an imposing physical presence and a reputation for unyielding integrity. His name was George Washington. Despite his initial reluctance, Washington accepted the role, setting the stage for his transformation into a national icon. Under Washington's leadership, the Continental Army began to take shape, a ragtag assembly of men from diverse backgrounds, bound by their shared determination. They faced a formidable opponent in the well-trained, well-equipped British forces, but they were driven by a powerful belief in their cause: the pursuit of liberty and justice. The colonies were now at war with Britain. The battles of Lexington and Concord had shifted the American landscape, transitioning the colonies from a state of discontent to open rebellion. What had begun as a protest against taxation had evolved into a full-fledged fight for independence. The American Revolution had begun. July 4, 1776, a date that will forever be etched in the annals of history. A resounding stroke of the pen marked the birth of a new nation, as 56 delegates from 13 colonies gathered in Philadelphia to sign the Declaration of Independence. The drafting of this monumental document was no small feat. It was a process steeped in deep introspection, vigorous debate, and an unwavering commitment to the principles of liberty and equality. Thomas Jefferson, a young Virginian with a gift for eloquence, was chosen to pen the first draft. A committee of 5, including Benjamin Franklin and John Adams, was tasked to review and revise Jefferson's draft. The resulting document was a testament to their collective vision of a free and independent nation. The Declaration of Independence served a dual purpose. On one hand, it was a formal announcement to the world of the colony's intention to sever ties with Britain. On the other, it laid down the philosophical groundwork for a new form of government, one that derives its power from the consent of the governed. It declared in no uncertain terms that all men are created equal and endowed with certain unalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The reaction to the Declaration was as varied as the people who read it. In the colonies, it was met with a mix of jubilation, fear, and uncertainty. Some celebrated the bold step towards freedom, while others were apprehensive about the looming conflict. Across the pond, the British reaction was one of disbelief and outrage. The colony's audacious move was seen as an act of treason, a blatant defiance of the crown. However, the colonies were resolute. With the Declaration of Independence, they had issued a clear statement to the world. They were no longer 13 disparate colonies under the yoke of British rule, but a united front, ready and willing to fight for their freedom. With the Declaration of Independence, the colonies had officially broken away from Britain. The stage was set for a conflict that would shape the course of history, a war for independence that would test the mettle of this nascent nation. The year is 1777, and the American Revolution is not going well for the colonists. Their spirit is strong, yet resources are dwindling and morale is being tested. But amidst the chaos and despair, a glimmer of hope arises in the form of the Battle of Saratoga. The Battle of Saratoga, a decisive clash between British General John Burgoyne and American General Horatio Gates, unfolds in the Hudson River Valley. The British are confident, their goal to sever New England from the rest of the colonies. But the Americans, despite their challenges, are undeterred. In a surprising turn of events, the colonists score a major victory. This victory does more than just boost morale. It sends a powerful message to the world. The Americans are here to fight, and they can win. This single event, this triumph against the odds, begins to shift the global perspective on the American Revolution. Across the Atlantic, the news of the Battle of Saratoga reaches France. The French, ever the rivals of the British, are intrigued. They see a chance to weaken Britain's global influence and perhaps to gain a new ally. The American victory at Saratoga convinces them to offer their support to the colonists. The French aid, both financial and military, is a game changer. It breathes new life into the American cause, providing much-needed resources and experienced soldiers. More than that, it legitimizes the colonists' fight for independence on the global stage. But the French are not the only ones to take notice. Spain and the Netherlands, inspired by the American resolve, and sensing an opportunity to challenge British power, also lend their support. The American Revolution has become a global conflict, and the colonists are no longer fighting alone. The tide of the war had turned. October 19, 1781, marks the end of the American Revolution. The Siege of Yorktown, a pivotal moment in history, saw the American and French forces strategically corner the British Army led by General Lord Cornwallis. The combined forces under the command of General George Washington and French General Rochambeau laid siege to the British, cutting off their escape and supply routes. After weeks of relentless battle, Cornwallis was left with no choice but to surrender. This marked a significant turning point in the war as it effectively ended major combat operations. However, it was not until 2 years later in 1783 that the Treaty of Paris was signed, formally ending the war. This treaty recognized the sovereignty of the United States, establishing its borders and granting it independence from Great Britain. The treaty was a momentous occasion, not just for the United States, but for the world. It signaled a shift in power dynamics, with a new nation emerging on the world stage. The United States of America had fought bravely for its freedom, and through sheer determination and resilience, had managed to triumph against a formidable enemy. The end of the American Revolution marked the birth of a nation. a nation built on the principles of liberty, equality, and the pursuit of happiness. The United States of America was now a free and independent nation. So, what can we learn from the American Revolution? It's a testament to the power of ideas, the resilience of humanity, and the fight for justice. It's a chapter in our history that kindled a new nation, setting a precedent for future revolutions around the globe. It reminds us that the pursuit of liberty and equality are enduring values that continue to shape our world. As we reflect on the American Revolution, we realize its profound impact on the world and the enduring legacy it has left behind.